Hello, my name is Jermaine Glover with Trident University International, doctoral study and research methods in business. It's actually case number 5, I'm sorry. Military projects and funding as it relates to current innovations within force protection. The reason that I chose this is going to be my mini proposal. My mini proposal is basically the innovation within the United States military from the past to the present, but more so focusing on paper versus electronics. There's a lot of different things that I'm going to have within this PowerPoint that is going to discuss certain details of innovation. All these relate, and all these come back to one specific thing: paper versus electronic, or manual versus electronics itself. Rational. The topic this is a rapid growth in innovation within the military, not just the military, but in the world itself. And money is always allocated for specific things itself. Although within the military, money may be allocated, but it's usually allocated a couple of years later. Meaning, in time, some of the technology is considered out of date, especially with the rapid growth of different things and different methods. So usually you have software. I can just give you a one. We have a fingerprint reader. We did a lot of fingerprints, and fingerprints are usually done with the old ink method, and you roll the finger and you place it on a card, and then you place the card in the mail, and it's sent off, and it's stored in somewhere within the FBI. Now you have electronic fingerprints, which automatically uploads and automatically sent via internet to the FBI, which makes it a lot quicker, a lot safer, and a lot easier. Although, as I said, innovation plays its role. When majority of the systems used to run off Windows 7, and now most of them are on Windows 10 or something a little higher, and realizes that the software is incompatible, which now slows the process, which makes you move back to paper copy fingerprints. For reason for my study, I just want to, speed up the process of innovation, and sure, so, the requirement that we have, it makes sure that the process isn't outdated. My research questions that I'm looking at is, why do we implement the innovation tool? Why should we develop innovation tools to protect us from access control, securing our physical security issues? And, is paper versus paperless functions a thing, basically? As I look in the literature review, we want to definitely take a look at paper versus electronic, within force protection, because that's basically what I'm focusing on. Some of the things that I'm going to tie in is I have up on the screen Navy DBIDS, or Department of Defense DBIDS, but as I'm focusing on the Navy, and an old system called RapidGate. These two systems basically replaced the basic individual, but it's an electronic system that can cross-reference criminal history checks, all different types of things, sexual offenders list, by just a scan of a driver's license or an ID card. It ties the name to the individual, and that's innovation at its key. Because before, there was multiple systems which required one person to check every single system, and then come back, which the timing was ridiculous. Now it's just a scan of the card, and it automatically comes up as all these systems cross-reference. That's innovation. That's moving to a quicker and faster system. We also included something that provided for access control, which was a final denial barrier, or automatic gates. These things help pursuit of vehicles to prevent personnel that run entry control point stops, or it opens and closes gates so you can take out that person there. Although the reason why I'm tying this in is because within the military we have all these items, but we still use certain things. We still use our old barriers that we had in place in conjunction with the new barriers. Basically, all we did was add something else, which didn't really speed up anything. As I said, continue with literature review, paper versus electronic. What is the objective quality evidence? Why do we still need to have paper items if we're going to move to electronics regardless? We understand accountability may be the key, but we can upload documents, and it can be virtual, or through the internet, any way, possible. But we need to understand the reasons of why. As we look in our methodology, paper versus electronics, the qualitative research that we find is storing data practical? Yes, it is. We want to conduct a study on why it's going to be practical. We want to utilize the focus group of just the leadership. And the reason why is because they're the ones that make the decisions. Although they're not the ones that are they're reviewing the items. They're not the ones that's inputting anything. They're reviewers. So we want to see what their take is. We want to do some time studies, whether to find out if various paper functions versus electronics is feasible. Take a look at some Lean Six Sigma projects and process improvement functions, as well as we also need to verify with our information systems departments that, they can even do these specific things with our current setup. We also want to look at PDF versus HTML. PDF, a document that is basically stored quick, fast, and easy, to something that can be quick, fast, and easy, and also through an intranet or an internet. Our sample population will be basically our law enforcement. I'm going to focus just on one military installation for federal, but we also can compare it to the municipality area or our state departments. As we look at some more methodology, we look at the quantitative method. We're going to once again understand the reason why, the advantages and disadvantages of just the whole electronic issues. We're also going to look at comparisons of what the local sector or private sector is doing right now. I noticed that in the city of Corpus Christi, they are using handheld scanners to issue citations, which cuts back on actual physical tickets, but it sends it to an electronic database where you can, pretty much maneuver. They scan your ID card and they scan your registration, and they have all the information that they need. Cut down to about maybe from 15 to 20 minute traffic stop to a 3 to 5 minute traffic stop. They also save paper by using receipt paper and heat. As you know, receipt paper is very cheap, and on thermal, when utilizing heat as like register paper, it's pretty quick. We also want to look at the comparison between healthcare electronic records and how they utilize record keeping. And we want to make sure that we're safe. But we need to understand how focus groups work, because once we pull into a focus group, we're going to utilize the worker, the one that's actually doing the work. We want to make sure that it's relevant to them. The significance, we want to consider the paper versus electronic is moving into innovation. We want to make sure that we keep keeping all paper logs really relevant. What is the need for them? I know that as we continue through this, we will eventually cut down on paper itself, as well as shred material and ink. We always look at shred material. The reason why shred material is at times something that we overlook. We don't really consider shred material because some places have actual companies that actually come out and take their shred material. That's a cost. If we don't have shred material, we don't have to worry about that extra cost. But we also look at certain things as we deal with it. The reason for electronics is to save space on certain things and to minimize things. So if we had to go back 10 years, would you like to go and sit in a room and dig through files that are probably unorganized looking for a document, rather than just clicking the mouse, going to the specific date and looking for one certain item? I think that would be very significant to everything. Moving from paper to electronic, I will think it's more so a person or a human driven item. you look at your population size and you look at your atmosphere, what population and what location would rather be paper and what would rather be electronic. I'm still trying to narrow this down and making sure that I hit the correct topic, but overall I'm looking at the cost on how much it would cost an organization to shift from paper and move on to a fully electronic. Portions of the military have already done it, but it still finds its way lurking through the shadows of actually going back to paper and utilizing paper. Thank you for your time. Here's some of my references that I used. And I look forward to either enhancing or finding a new research topic to discuss. But thank you.